Everybody, good afternoon and happy Wednesday. I hope you are doing extremely well wherever you are in the world. My name is Marnie Blythe and I am the owner of Full Pocket Coaching, and it's my absolute pleasure to be here with you every single week on Wednesdays to be able to help you to make major strides, major gains in your business. So anyway, let's go ahead and let's get started for today. Before we jump in, I want to actually just share a quick story with you guys. Some of you may know my background as an entrepreneur. I actually started working as an entrepreneur at the early age of just 18 years old in New York City when I started my first business, which was networking events for young professionals. And since that time, I have owned and operated and sold a lot of different businesses. One of the things that I've really struggled with over the years was really having a mindset, this bulletproof mindset, that would be able to help me to really explode my businesses. In particular, 6 years ago when I opened my holistic health and fitness center right here in Holly Springs, North Carolina, called Dragonfly Health and Fitness, I really wrestled with how I could have vulnerability with healthy boundaries, and how I could really have this success mindset. Good morning, Tammy. I'm glad you're here. And so it was a struggle for me, to really be in a place of vulnerability, but being open and being able to own my own stuff so that I could be able to really take my business to another level. And so then a funny thing happened along the way. I started to discover how I could really build myself inward in order to have this outward extraordinary success. And what I started to realize that it's only when you really do this work internally first that you will be able to take your business to a whole other level. So it really begins with you. Once I started making these discoveries, once I started doing this inner work, my world changed. Things opened up in ways that I never knew possible. And that's only when I started to really have these incredible successes. And this is a journey. This is a marathon, okay? This is not a one-time sprint. This is not something that you do and then it's forgotten. You have to remember that the journey inward and the work to make yourself the best person, the best entrepreneur, everything that you can be really is a marathon. So I want to express that to you guys, because once I was able to start to do this work, then I was able to start to have incredible success in my business, which translated into being able to, for example, sell that business several years ago. It was a multi-six-figure a year business, and I was able to then go and buy a beach house, which I now get to rent out, and I started Full Pocket Coaching, and I have the pleasure of working with entrepreneurs just like you. So today, what we're going to be talking about is these 3 success mindset tools that you can really use to implement in your business so that you can propel yourself forward, have extraordinary success, and be able to really move the bottom line. So let's go ahead and jump in. The 3 things that I'm going to cover off with you today are defining what success means. That's number 1. 2, being open and being vulnerable and what that means. And 3, taking responsibility for your own stuff. Okay, so 1, let's talk about what success means and how you define that. So oftentimes, if you go back into some of my trainings that I've done, you'll go ahead and see that we really talk a lot about what we call the Entrepreneurial Operating System, or EOS. And EOS is one of the most incredible, most simple processes that we can use in order to take your business from where it is now to where you want it to go. And EOS is a very simple process, and it begins with setting the foundation, and we call it the 10-3-1. So what we do is we look at where you want your business to be financially in the next 10 years, right? So is that 500,000? Is it 100,000? Is it 1,000,000? How much money do you ultimately want to create for yourself? Then from that 10-year outlook, you're going to pull it back to your 3-year picture. And that way you know at the 3-year mark, where do you need to keep going in order to be at where you ultimately want to be in 10 years. Then from the 3-year picture, you're going to go ahead and you're going to pull it back to the 1-year plan, okay? From the 1-year plan, you're going to take that and you're going to segment it into 90-day increments. And within those 90-day increments, you're going to create rocks. or the 3 to 5 most important priorities that you're going to set in order to make sure that everything goes up to those ultimate goals. Now, one of the things that I also want to highly encourage you to think about doing is on a weekly basis having what we call a level 10 meeting. I'm really excited I get to help some local clients do those level 10 meetings as a fractional integrator, which means that I come in and I help them run their meetings every single week. And it's an objective person to be able to help them to keep on task and sometimes have those difficult conversations, which ultimately is what leads to ROI. So you have to define what success means to you. You need to put a financial number to that success. And then the key to this whole thing is that every single week you need to sit down with your leadership team and you need to go through and make sure that you're on track and that things are not dropping. It's about having accountability and consistency. Those are the key things that you really need to think about doing in order to really move the needle in your business. And that is having a success mindset. Having a success mindset means that you've clearly defined what success means, and therefore you can take that chunky bite out of it and keep moving towards it, okay? So number 2, being open and being vulnerable. So it's interesting because I was having a conversation the other day with a gentleman and we were talking about management styles and things of that nature. And the sense that I got was that he felt like he already knew everything that he needed to know. He was somebody who's been in business for quite a while, and he kind of shut me down when I was talking about the importance of, expressing vulnerability and how the work of Brené Brown has actually been really instrumental for me in her book, like Dare to Lead, in her research. If you're not familiar with Brené Brown, I'd highly encourage you to take a look at her work. She is a researcher who focuses on shame and fear. And interestingly, shame, fear, and vulnerability, without those things, you cannot have imagination, you can't have creativity, you can't have joy, you can't have a culture that fosters all of those sorts of things. So you have to be open to the learning process. You have to be open to knowing that you do not know everything despite how long you've been in business. And I want you to be able to get the sense when those things come in to be open and getting curious. And the question that I want you to say is, isn't that interesting? Maybe I should get curious more about these sorts of things for my business. Being vulnerable with healthy boundaries is another huge, huge, huge key to your success and how you move your business forward. Without these things, you will never get the kind of success that you're looking to have in your business, okay? The next thing, the third thing, is taking responsibility for your own stuff, okay? And taking responsibility means that in our businesses, we don't always have to put on this front, again, that we know everything, or that we have all the answers, or even if there is something that happens where perhaps we're not showing up as our best self. We have to learn how to be able to say, I'm sorry. We have to learn how to be able to say, I don't necessarily know the answer to that question, but I'm going to get curious and I'm going to go figure it out. And then you have to go and you need to find the resources. The best people in the world, the most successful entrepreneurs in the world have coaches. They have mentors. They invest in themselves. They invest in their teams because they know by making those important investments, they can propel their business forward. So you have to be ready to do this important work in order to propel your business forward in the most incredible way that you can. So the 3 tips again that I have for you today are making sure you really define what success means in your business, and you need to write that down. You need to make sure that every single week you and your leadership team are discussing that and making sure you're taking those steps forward to introduce that into your business and keep having those consistent discussions. 2, being open, being vulnerable to what is showing up and what people are introducing to you. And 3, taking responsibility for your own stuff. And if you're wrong, you say, I'm wrong and I'm sorry and I'm going to try to do better next time. And you just stay open to what the universe and what your team and people around you are bringing you. So hopefully this message is resonating for you. Hopefully you are already doing this work. I'm sure you are. We'd love to hear more from you and the work that you are currently doing in your business. If you need help implementing any of these things, please keep us in mind here at Full Pocket Coaching. I'd love to go ahead and set up a coffee with you or an opportunity to get to know you and your business a little better. So again, Marnie Blythe, Full Pocket Coaching, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here with you today. Appreciate you as always. So thank you and have a great day.